Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell do we care now, guys? It's just another opportunity in this title race thrown away. And believe you me, when this one's all said and done, this is going to be a season that no fan of Celtic or Rangers is going to forget anytime soon. I don't remember so many twists and turns with both teams seeming absolutely abject and incapable of stringing good results and good performances together. And Celtic really felt like we were starting to climb out of that over the last couple of weeks. And coming into this Hearts game, having seen Rangers draw points on Saturday to Motherwell, who, were pretty impressive against Celtic recently as well. This was a game about getting the job done. I don't think any Celtic fans were counting their chickens or talking out a turn before this one, because Hearts, obviously the informed team, second informed team in the league, as we keep being told. And that for us as Celtic fans is a real kick in the stones, because there was a lot to be impressed about with the Celtic performance until everything went haywire. And it's really been building on the performances we've had over the last couple of weeks. In the video today, we're going to be looking at, what went well for Celtic, what are the green shoots, the green signs of improvement that we're seeing with the squad, as well as the key instance in the game and everything else in between at any point in the video today. If you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, maybe you cry, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Here at the Celts are here, we are pushing for 10,000 subscribers, boys and girls, and we cannot do that without your support. So if you enjoy the content like this, please do hit the subscribe button for more, hit the like button, and get into the comment section on this one and let me know how you're feeling after this one, because normally this season, when Celtic have been dropping points, we've all had steam coming out of our ears, and this guy, it's his fault, and that guy did this, and all the rest of it. Whereas for me, certainly after this game, I actually feel really good about what Celtic did in this game, and it is real, just that kind of kick in the stones feeling that I've got. So I'll be really interested to hear and see from you guys in the comment section what your takeaways are from the match. And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now, we started to get the sniff on Thursday or Friday, I think it was Friday, that Callum McGregor wasn't in training and very unlikely to feature in this match. And I know a lot of Celtic fans will probably be coming out of this match thinking, oh, if we had McGregor at certain points of the match, maybe things would have went a bit differently. But I thought this would be a huge opportunity for Paulo Bernardo in particular, but the Celtic team, the Celtic midfield, to really go and do things it hasn't done earlier this season. McGregor's fantastic, but when he's been playing in the six, you don't really get that same defensive, like stability, that kind of sniff of danger that Tomoki Iwata seems to have. And, he's been a very impressive, shield player in front of the defence over the last couple of weeks, and we've seen that in this game. But having him there, over the last two games, McGregor has been a bit sus in this position here, to be quite honest with you. He's not as energetic as Hatate, and he's not as direct as Turnbull, so he's not really given us too much distinctive attacking presence in this role here. So seeing Bernardo coming in next to O'Reilly, I thought this has got a great opportunity to catch Hearts a little bit, maybe wrong-footed, and for us, the team, the manager, McGregor himself, to see how much we can actually get out of that position compared to what we have been getting earlier this season. Now, again, equally the same thing can be said that McGregor has been playing in this role here where Iwata is, and Bernardo's been here, so there's been people auditioning for that space all season, but they've not had that same defensive cover behind them to give them that kind of, the same thing Carter Vickers gives the team that everyone gives him credit for, that calmness, that composure, that air of safety, I do feel that Iwata gives that a little bit to certainly O'Reilly. And in this game for early spells, I did feel that between him, when he was popping out into these kind of wide pockets here, linking up with Johnson and Yang and getting on the ball, Bernardo was really good at crossing in between the lines and getting into little pockets and trying to double up with O'Reilly and, whoever else it might have been. And equally, if the ball was on this side of the pitch, O'Reilly is not scared to come central. We never really seen him getting out into the wider zones to support, but they two were actually starting to link up a bit better. And over the last couple of weeks, the Celtic centre mids have been acres apart, and it is a real weakness in a team that wants to have possession and penetrate a team to have those attacking players so far apart. So in the opening 5-10 minutes, I thought Celtic played with a great energy. The technique was elite. Guys were playing a lot of great stuff, one touch, picking stuff out of the air, and not too many chances came, but O'Reilly played, obviously, the pass through to this channel here for Yang that won the penalty. But there was a couple of sequences of play that happened just before that were quite similar. And, we were very direct. We had a good energy. And between Yang, Ida, and Dyson, they were all really on their tiptoes, really waiting to play, really waiting to get on the end of play. Balls getting played a bit earlier to them into channels and trying to have cutbacks and play-ons for each other. Now, the Yang penalty, for me, it is a penalty, right? But it is rather on the soft side, but he takes him out, he's in the box, it's a penalty all day long. Up steps Adam Ida, and I think we've all got full confidence he's going to absolutely bury it, but unfortunately that opens up a sliding doors moment in the match, and this is where everything goes haywire. From Adam Ida missing that penalty, There's in an open sequence of play for a couple of minutes. It results in Yang with a high boot, yellow card on the field, and then VAR steps in. And this is the first major problem I've got with this, right? Is VAR stepping in to say that you've made a clear and obvious error. Okay, now, when you look at the still images, it does look like Yang's foot is really high and it's his studs that are making contact with the face. Now, if it's studs on face, it's a red card all day, every day. But the one thing I was saying straight away in the aftermath, I heard them saying something similar to it at halftime, and then it wasn't really brought up again. But if he was caught in the face, when you see it at full speed, you see the pace of how quick he's running, the pace of the ball, all that kind of stuff. Where's his marks on his face? If you've ran into someone's studs, face first like that, you're going to have scratches, cuts, bruises, something. The guy got no medical attention. There was nothing. So I'm yet to be convinced Yang has actually touched him. Now, if Yang hasn't touched him, it's a yellow card. It's still dangerous play. And yeah, the guy's maybe caught a toe or something like that. Force, etc. doesn't come into this for me at all. It is contact. And I'm not sure the contact is there. And really from here, to be honest with you, again, I was really impressed with how Brendan Rodgers handled it and how the team kind of handled it on the pitch. But as soon as Yang gets sent off, he's deleted from the board. He's gone now. You're wondering, okay, what's Brendan Rodgers going to do? Now, very often when Celtic have been down to 10 men, we've seen them play the 4-3-2, and we got a little bit of that again. Out of possession, in times, it did look like a little bit of a half 4-4-2, where we'd see O'Reilly maybe being a little bit further right, Bernardo a bit closer to Tomoki Iwata, and Dyson would maybe come back in here. So we've seen this kind of thing maybe a little bit out of possession, but very quickly you would see that Dyson was always keeping quite close to Ida, and whatever side of the pitch the ball was on, Dyson would be over there to that side. And he and Iwata really came into their element because both of them now had a lot more freedom to travel around the pitch. They're not constrained by the formation and the tactics as much because you're a man down now, and when opportunities present themselves, you have to take them. And Iwata starts going box to box, and you start to really see all the talents, all the abilities that he's got. Not just that, you know, he wasn't formidable in attack, but he's able to travel, get up the pitch, and even when he does, he was fantastic at recovering and getting back into position and snuffing out counter-attacks. And Daizen Maeda, he just wants to chase everything all day, every day. He was going left to right, right to left. He was playing off Ida. He was running into the pockets, into shadows for through balls. He really came into his element, throughout the rest of it. And in this kind of, Yang gets sent off in the 15th minute. And up until really the half an hour mark, Hearts were really uncomfortable. They didn't, they've got 11 men. They should have possession of the ball. Shanklin should be getting high. Forrest started running the channels, and then their midfield started getting a bit braver and coming up the pitch. We've seen the wing backs start to get into position, but then they were getting really uncomfortable. They were still feared to lose the ball because Celtic, like I mentioned earlier, there's been periods in this season where it's felt like we're playing with 10 men because we're not using our players effectively. Palma, McGregor, O'Reilly, Turnbull. There's been a litany of them this season. So it wasn't really that different for little spells of this game. And Hearts could feel it. If they lost the ball, Celtic were going to be a bit more direct. And with the pace of Dyson, Ida is not slow, by the way. And Ali Johnson had a bit of a licence to bomb on the right-hand side here. That Celtic were still a threat, they were still a danger. And Hearts really didn't know how to make their extra man count. And from that is probably the biggest missed opportunity in this match. Hearts are attacking down the right-hand side. Liam Scales makes a lovely interception, and the way he distributes the ball, clears the ball, as he finds the path of Daizen Maeda in this area here. And from here, Daizen's able to travel up the pitch, get the ball into Adam Ida, who travels across the face of the 18-yard box to play in O'Reilly for the goal that is ultimately chopped offside. Now, at that point, having missed the penalty, being down to 10 men, if we had taken that goal, if that wasn't offside, we'd managed to turn it around there and get 1-0 up against 10 men. Again, it's another sliding doors opportunity where we could have actually got something out of this game, but alas, it's the finest of margins it wasn't to be. And then really after that, that's when you really felt Hearts got their act together a little bit, and from open play, they started to dominate possession. They started to really put us back into our half. And again, they weren't really that great at creating opportunities. Over the match, they only had 6 shots on target, which for their one-man advantage isn't saying anything. And then, so we get to half-time, we're a goal down. Unfortunately, we've missed a penalty, and we've had a goal ruled out for offside when it was 0-0 against 10 men. We're so close to getting something halfway positive because the players are taking chances, they're trusting each other, they're invading space, and they're still causing Hearts problem. Now, there was a lot of shouts at half-time to get Kyogo on. I'm not too sure if it was for Ida or Dyson. I was hearing a lot of people saying that Ida wasn't really giving us anything up front when we went down to 10 men, and I thought the absolute opposite. I thought the guy was playing phenomenal, running the channel. Yeah, not everything came off, but he has like 2 or 3 guys around him. We're down to 10 men as well, and I thought he did a great shift throughout the match. But I was so excited to see that it was Paulo Bernardo, because bringing Kyogo on at halftime for Bernardo kind of brings us into a bit of a 4-2-3 situation. Kyogo never really came out into the wing area. He was always kind of tucking into these zones here, almost into midfield, with still trying to cover a little bit of the wide zone. And to be honest with you, Kyogo had a fantastic second half overall. Like, on the ball, I don't think I've seen him be as good or travel as well and complete successful actions. But to be quite honest with you, again, his decision-making had me frustrated. The shot that he took from the edge of the box after he wins the ball in midfield from a Hearts player, he runs the length of the pitch, beating a man or two, and then from this area here, he takes a shot. Rather than laying on Dyson or playing the ball to Dyson for a 1-2 to get himself into the box for a shot, again, I just think he's got really poor decision-making, and you do see that there is a hesitation from other Celtic players in, do-or-die moments to play him in open play. I think everyone's really comfortable playing Kyogo as a finisher, but in open play, there's definitely a hesitancy, I think, for people to be playing him. But by bringing on Kyogo, we really forced Hearts to try and keep their full-backs further back, and it bought us a bit more space. That, the opening 5-10 minutes of the second half, I thought, wow, this might actually be the answer to our front three problems for the remainder of the season. If Kyogo can, do the sort of shift that Abada does, just be high energy, be forward thinking, be aggressive towards goal. And hey, if the ball's on our side of the pitch, make sure you get into the back post for a tap in. Having Dyson doing a similar job on the other side and Ida doing this great arrowhead roll. Even at 10 men, I thought, wow, this front three has a lot of potential to cause Hearts some problems and maybe be a bit of a solution to us. But I say, with how narrow Kyogo did play and the lack of link-up that we did see between the front three, I thought was a real opportunity missed. And then Hearts scored to make it 2-0. And a goal that, like Shankland having the earlier one called off, you can always feel that he's got one in him. He does do scales quite high. The great thing about this sequence for me, also we made the video on the channel earlier last week talking about scales, he's good. You better get used to it. But he steps into midfield to confront the target man, he's tasked to man mark. He gets skinned. Carter Vickers has then got Shankland to deal with as he lays the ball off, and Scales gets right back into a sweeper position to block the cross. Doesn't quite get there. So I feel like, when people mention his name in the replay to the game, I'm thinking, don't try and sell Scales down here. There's no harm in getting dribbled. Carter Vickers is shoulder to shoulder with Shankland, and he's the man that gets peeled off of for the shot that leads to the goal. When Hearts go 2 up, you do feel that it's kind of, the opportunity is maybe past us, and there's still a good bit of endeavour in the team, but we're not getting as many actual shots on target. We're not actually getting into the box as often. Some of the batteries of some of the guys are starting to wane a little bit, particularly in midfield. You really do feel that nothing's coming centrally. Everything's going out to Johnson, Taylor. We're trying to get our pace players on the ball. And then we make the second substitution of the game, which is, I think it should be a bit more of a talking point than maybe it perhaps is. And that's the second substitution of the match, where we see Tomoki Iwata come off for Kelly, who scored in the 7-1 victory, obviously midweek, and on his debut, makes his second appearance here at Tynecastle. And, it's great to see that Brendan can trust him, put him in this game. He only played like 10-15 minutes if you include added time. Didn't do anything particularly noteworthy either way, but you didn't notice him on the pitch in a bad way. Even being a man down, he did really well at covering the pitch, go box to box. And, there's a few 50-50s he was involved in. I think he acquitted himself quite well, filling in for Iwata and next to O'Reilly. Down to 10 men, really bad situation. Still maybe thinking, can we get a goal? Can we maybe try and open the door to make it a last 10 minutes? It's quite tense for Hearts. So he definitely had instructions to go forward. He kept up with the play well. And, overall he was fairly handy in this one. And earlier this season, Celtic invited Celtsar here to come and watch the Celtic Youth Champions League games. And the guys at Celtsar here sent me along. I managed to watch Lazio and Atletico Madrid. And before the video today, seeing Kelly get his debut, getting the goal, and seeing him come on today, I went back and checked my notes because I remember watching him play. And he featured very prominently. And, he was one of the standout players in midfield. It very looks at age group level that he's very much above himself physically. He was a great presser, very strong, made good decisions. But he wasn't a player that really stood out as having much flair or guile or whatever. And, seeing him in the senior level, all the attributes he was showing at the youth level, you can see them reaching into the senior game. And the sort of position he was playing in midfield was alongside another player called Mackenzie Carse, who's now out on loan at Queen's Park. And Mackenzie Carse would play more of the Callum McGregor role, sitting in defensive midfield. And Kelly Had to check my notes there. But Kelly and Cummings were both very good extra midfielders that went around, supported the front line, as well as took the ball off the playmaking midfielder. So yeah, really promising early signs from Kelly. And seeing Rodgers putting him in here in a really a do-or-die moment in the deep end, be a great learning experience for him, no doubt. It's now going to be 2 weeks to Celtic's next league match. I'm not too sure if we're going to have Callum McGregor back because the club's been so hush-hush about it. So I'd expect the midfield kind of shape to remain the same. Bernardo probably starts, maybe it could be Kelly. I'd be very surprised. But Yang will be suspended. Daizen Maeda and Ida very firmly in the front three for me. But this final spot here will be really interesting to see who the manager goes for. I would expect Yang to play against Livingston, but maybe we'll get a bit of a telltale sign in that match in terms of substitutions and different things that happen. But I don't think he's going to play Palma on the right, and I don't think he would play Palma on the left to get Daizen on the right. Maybe he would. And again, at no stage of this match, Daizen Maeda, Ida, these guys ran themselves into the ground. We could have brought Kuhn on, we didn't. Interesting development there. And I was also surprised to see Carter Vickers complete 90 minutes in this match as well, with Lagerbielke be on the bench, and we obviously know Carter Vickers' recent, kind of minute management that we've seen. So a bitter defeat to take, guys. Unfortunately, it always feels a lot worse, I think, when you're kind of robbed, rather than it being you're shooting yourself in the foot or a bad performance. The other team was just too good. When you feel that the refs have kind of taken it out of your hands and really ruined the game, then it is a hard one to take, development points from, closure, whatever it is you want to think of. Like I said, guys, it'd be really interested to catch your comments on this one to see what your thoughts were. The Celtic dropping points away to Hearts this weekend. On screen now is some other stuff that we've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you maybe enjoyed this. Hail, hail!